that you're ready for the following weeks and staying up to snuff.
Everyone always thinks that I'm being facetious. Maybe I'm being very serious.
No, you're being facetious.
Rude.
Yeah. Speaking of rude.
I respect you,
Froster.
Aluka. I know you got it.
Oh, well, look. If there's anyone that's an Aluka fan, I'm putting my
He's
hand
an LPL title winner.
Damn right he is.
Okay?
He's also a train
Who do you think carried Name to his LPL title?
That's exactly
It
right.
wasn't Sika.
We are moving into dangerous territory here. We do have Twisted Fate Braum and Victor Bandaway on the side of LGD, though, as we do have Champion Select on our screen that we haven't reacted to at all. Rise and Callista are going to be the following bans, and we'll see whether it is going to be very standard as we look for the last one.
That's a little bit interesting. The Twisted Fate ban against Xie.
Yeah.
As Victor's pretty standard. Braum also.
Oh, Ezreal. Is WE going to ban it? That's the question.
I think
Braum's banned.
This setup is that LGD want to first pick it, or priority it.
Well, it is available. We'll see whether LGD go there because it makes a whole lot of sense in my brain. My brain's a very interesting place, though, so we'll see whether it is going to be the option. And Acorn is going straight for the Shen. So WE, they have the opportunity to grab the Ezreal if they want to.
Oh, the thing, though, is Godvi is a fantastic Kassadin player, and I really like Kassadin. It's the answer to Ezreal.
Oh, okay.
So...
Well,
ooh, please, Aluka.
Oh, if he goes Singed. I just think that Singed is so strong on this patch at the moment.
Oh, he is.
And so is Nidalee, actually. Direct buff to Spirit in that regard.
There are two rules to WE. You do not let Spirit have Nidalee. You do not let Aluka have Scion.
Well, Spirit's actually considering the Gragas instead.
Ooh, Kog'Maw.
They're actually considering a whole bunch of things, but the Kog'Maw is going to be locked in, and Spirit's going to grab his Gragas.
Should be noticed that Kog'Maw on 5.13 especially can be used as a flex pick in between the mid lane and the AD carry.
Oh, of course.
I feel like stylistically for WE, Kog'Maw fits much more in line with Mystic's hands, again, a position-based AD carry.
Yep.
I'm actually really surprised that it took this long to see a Kog'Maw. I feel like on 5.13 specifically, and Korea's been playing a little bit of Kog'Maw, that Kog'Maw would really shine.
Well, LGD going to waste no time, lock in their bottom lane there, as On the Hunt from the Civ are going to be available as well as the Janna. We saw this combo itself be utilized by EDG, but we'll see whether that is going to work out here heading against WE. Now, WE's turn to finish out their lineup with a couple more picks, probably going to save GA's pick till last.
Imp, like Deft, a fantastic Sivir player. Kind of one of the differences between the two is I feel like Deft is much more about abusing the skill shot with the boomerang, whereas Imp is super punishing on the auto reset with her ricochet.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty fun to watch him abuse Sivir's passive, the movement speed, and just W auto reset people to death.
Fleet of Foot, I believe is what you're talking about.
Is that what her passive is called?
It is indeed. I've got to have some skill. Remembering obscure passives is probably one of them. Imp probably not going to be locking in the Blitzcrank here as LGD. Now it's their turn to round out their lineup. No surprises that WE locked in the Scion here, and Conan going to be grabbing the Thresh. As we said, possibly saving GA's pick till last, but that could also be a Kog'Maw there in the mid lane. And here we are hovering over the Diana here for Godby. And blind picking Diana, that's dangerous, is what I learnt from my previous cast with Small.
Yes, but not necessarily for Godby.
That is a good point.
It's
going to be locked in.
Very comfortable on the Diana. We talked about this, before the game, that he is a legacy Diana player. Probably one of the most experienced Diana players in the LPL. One of his key champions. So finally bringing that one back, and it will be Xiaoxi taking Evelyn.
Yeah, of course. Xiaoxi actually playing that in their previous series as well. Xiaoxi had sort of headed onto the Rift and was playing only Rek'Sai, and then decided that Evelyn was what he was going to take out. And WE, I'd be completely unsurprised they decided to lock in the Ezreal. He's so incredibly strong.
But you have to think that LGD knew that this was coming, especially Xie's fantastic performance, splitting their last set on the back of his Ezreal carry. Yeah. Diana, as an assassin with a gap closer, will be very punishing to Ezreal if she ever manages to get a hold of him. And I want to talk about Xiaoxi briefly, simply because I feel like he hasn't had quite a good or a planned intro. So we saw him in week 7 joining LGD's lineup, taking over for TBQ. Now it's kind of been a rotating roster where you see TBQ one game and then Xiaoxi will come in. Yeah. Xiaoxi has no competitive experience. not from the LSPL, not from the LPL. This is his first time into it. He's a solo queue jungler, so LGD just finding this talent and this late into the season, choosing to mix up their roster. And TBQ is a legacy player of LGD. Yeah. He's good friends with PYL. He's been on the roster for a very long time, has had multiple champion pool issues over the course of the game, so really curious and kind of a big gamble for LGD to change up their roster this deep into standings.
But already we've seen Xiaoxi come out with some brilliant performances. It really has sort of closed up what was a definite weakness for LGD.
No, I completely agree. It's, you know, when I first saw him, I was a little bit hit and miss on it, but he's definitely started to come back into his own. Obviously, you know, new to the LPL stage, might have been nervous, had some jitters, but we'll see if he continues.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Aluka going to be taking the Scion into Acorn's Shen here in the top lane. You can see Xiaoxi avoiding the Tremor Sense. His Spirit had locked away that Gragas early on. We'll see who can get the work done here around the Rift. And Godby very optimistically grabbing the Diana straight up there. And it is going to be Xie answering it with the Ezreal in the mid lane. We'll see whether that is going to be obnoxious as we've seen it. An Imp into the Kog'Maw of Mystic. PO are going to take the disengage against the variable possibilities that a Thresh does bring to your lineup.
Conan pulling out that Thresh. That says little something.
Little something?
Yeah.
Really?
That's the character for little.
Oh, thank you. Look at that. Translator for Oscarin. Fantastic. But we are going to hop onto the Rift. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for LGD versus WE, our final series of the evening. You can already see LGD racing out, trying to get their work done. Oh, Masquerade Evelyn! That's my favorite Evelyn skin.
Why?
Because it's disabled now and I feel cool for owning it.
It's,
Yeah, admittedly, it is a little bit revealing.
That's a good word for it. But we do have a bit of a 5-point start from either team. LGD this time around on the blue side, WE on the red side. I like it's color coordinated, and as I say that, as it leaves my mouth, I realize that both teams are red.
And as your pen leaves your hand,
I just shot my pen across the room.
Oh, don't worry, we're all together here. Don't worry, everything's fine.
I'm so excited for LG versus WE. This is the set I was looking forward to all night.
Damn right. Scottvy's actually going to be taking...
Is this a lane swap?
Well, we'll see.
I think he's curious that a lane swap could come out, which is why he's prioritizing, or Shin, excuse me, is prioritizing starting with the jungle, because naturally Sion's going to take a camp anyway, burn the passive, and then teleport to the top lane. So just to make sure that nothing fishy is happening, Acorn is going to go ahead and start with his jungler.
Yeah, hang around that red buff here just to make sure that Xiaoxi's going to have the best time possible. Godby, actually, I believe that skin not enabled on European and North American LCS, just because it changes the color a little bit.
You know what skin
how Diana works.
I dislike very much? The Eye Blitzcrank skin.
Oh yeah, that one's super disabled. Man.
I really dislike that skin.
The hook is ridiculous. Feels like it has way more range.
Yeah. Which cog skin is he using?
I don't know. I hope it's Monarch Pokemon.
Well, fun fact, a lot of players choose to use that skin because they believe that the hitbox is actually smaller on the Monarch Kog'Maw skin.
Yeah, I believe so, because it was actually made smaller, considering the fact that he was so huge. But he's going to go with Oven Kog'Maw.
Oven Kog'Maw?
He looks like an oven.
He looks like a dolphin.
Looks like an oven. Dolphins aren't made of metal. You haven't been in Australia long enough.
Everything's made of metal here.
No, dolphins aren't made of metal.
The dolphins have lasers attached to them like the spiders.
Alright, I feel like we've gone off topic just momentarily.
We haven't started talking about Jedis yet. We're not that deep.
Oh my goodness, I'm really excited about Jedis. If you want to talk about midi-chlorians for a moment, we certainly can. So you're going to smite away some minions here in the mid lane as Acorn and Aluka facing off. Aluka on his champion of choice here in the Scion. We'll see whether he can get the work done. Already ahead by about 7 CS, but I have a feeling it was because Acorn was helping Xiaoxi out there in the jungle.
Should be noted that Imp took full control of this lane, using the fact that Sivir gets to use that W, bounce between it. And this is where she wants to be, especially with the Janna, because it means that you're using the Eye of the Storm. The Janna E shield offensively versus defensively, which is just going to be really punishing to poor little Mystic here. Now, Kog'Maw, Powers will swing back to him once he has his ultimate available and he's able to just spam that one out with great range. But for now, he's pretty much at Sivir's mercy.
Indeed. Well, looks like Godby's having a decent time here in the mid lane. Has actually teleported back, grabbed that summoner spell much like GA did when he first started to bring Diana into the game. A lot of people decide that you want to be able to move around a little bit more as that champion.
Well, it's also very important that he's able to take the teleport simply because he is facing it against a Runeglaive Ezreal. So Runeglaive Ezreal in general has very few good matchups for himself, especially when he has to sacrifice one of his summoner spells to take the smite. Xie is doing a decent job of using his range versus melee, but Godby, you know, he's able to take the teleport knowing that there's no fear of an ignite, of a barrier, of a heal, of an exhaust.
Yeah, knows that he can get away with it just a little bit more easily. Also knows that he can get away with taking down this Raptor camp as well. Godby wasting no time, just shoving up these waves over and over again and grabbing as much as he can. Already clawing himself about a 7 CS advantage. Jay has allowed that wave to reset.
What I find really curious about Runeglaive Ezreal and how it really affects the map is it pretty much denies any sort of jungle presence or pressure from Spirit. So you have to think, you know, where is my kill pressure? What is the lane that I can actually gank? Runeglaive Ezreal, not going to have a lot of kill pressure there until he gets more items in, just because he needs to lay down the poke. He's not bringing any sort of CC. You could gank Shin early, but at some point Shin's just going to have his taunt and just be super tanky that you won't have anything to deal with it. So you're pretty much entirely telegraphed and reliant on ganking bottom lane. Now, with the Thresh, you have the Lantern, you have the CC from Flay and Death Sentence, but again, it's incredibly telegraphed that this is the only lane in bottom that I have any sort of kill pressure into gank, especially because Imp and PYL are so far forward. That said, they don't have control of the lane. Imp constantly pushing them in, making the most of the fact that Mystic and Conan have to last hit on tower, that they're getting whittled away.
There's also the fact as well that LGD have that very deep ward there on the Gromp camp, making sure they know exactly when Spirit is taking that one. They know, of course, right now that he's in the mid lane, as Godby is dealing with that one. But LGD know that they can go aggressive. Generally, you are going to be taking that, or you're going to be walking down the river, and he's being pinged out now. There's a nice Howling Gale on top of Mystic, who does take the Lantern out, but the Ignite's down on him. The flash forward from him, but not going to be able to get there. Death Sentence going to come through, and Spirit now there. No gank to come in from Xiaoxi, but Mystic has to get out of the lane.
Yeah, unfortunately, Imp not able to make the very last auto connect to follow it up. It would have allowed the Ignite to kill him, so good response from Mystic. That said, he is going to lose a lot of CS and experience, so the advantage is still heavily in favor of Imp. That said. Without the flash, it does open up again a big target that, hey, you know, Sivir is really far forward in the lane, chipping away at this tower, doesn't have the escape summoner. Yeah,
we'll see whether Kog'Maw can utilize his massive amount of mobility in order to help him out in this situation.
Wow, rude. I'm talking about Gragas.
All right.
He's got a phage. He can zip around.
That's true. He does have the rage capacity. He's not going to be as unable to move. But of course, I was being facetious then, ladies and gentlemen. Unless you think that Kog'Maw does have a lot of mobility, in which case, all the power to you. Godby's going to continue being a nuisance.
It's one of the few champions that can move around once he's died.
That is true.
If that doesn't qualify as heavily mobile, I don't know what does.
In fact, they've got the double suicides
this
coming
is
through
cute.
in this lineup. They should probably have gone with a Zyra mid lane.
Oh, man, missed. So what he does is the wave was frozen in a very unfortunate spot for him. So knowing that Imp has gone back to buy to have the itemization advantage of the BF sword over his poor little phage, he walks forward and he draws all of the aggro of Imp's creeps, knowing that he won't be punished for it, and he's trying to get the wave to push back against him. So think of little Kog'Maw saying, please, creeps, come closer.
Well, he doesn't need to worry about it, really, because all Imp wants to do is shove this wave all day. At the moment, it looks like he's trying to hold on to it just a little bit because
his flash is down. Yeah, so he understood that Imp, you know, actually would have wanted to hold the wave just so he could have zoned off Mystic having the BF sword and then kept himself safe by not having his flash. But Mystic, you know, trying to make the most of a bad situation. I love that Kog'Maw skin. It's so cute.
It is. Cute little lover.
It's a dolphin.
And he's got so many guns everywhere, but still just spits on people.
He sits and spits.
Yeah, he does. Why don't you use that gigantic machine gun on your head?
It's just a hat.
Yeah, it's just his hat. Okay.
Imp, that was actually interesting. So here's a fun little micro point. So anytime someone walks against the wall, it's pretty much a free skill shot. So Mystic kind of mispositioned himself, as did Conan right there, funneling himself in between the wall and the tower, whereas if he was just on the other side, he'd have so much more room to dodge. But as soon as you saw Mystic step towards the tower, Imp immediately threw out his boomerang, knowing that he's going to hit, because there's only one way, as he did just there, that Mystic would be able to dodge. So really unfortunate.
Yeah, whoa, Imp actually going to grab himself some extra mana there, as Mystic once again going to get tagged by the first portion of that one. Imp just playing very far forward, understands that he's just got so much power in this lane now that he has that BF sword.
Likewise, to cover him, Xiaoxi is playing to the bottom side of the map, so knowing that Imp has exposed his side without that flash, playing so far forward, and Evelyn's hanging around. And Spirit, again, you know, the only lane that he has any kill pressure in or can gank is going to be that Thresh lane, but they're both half health, and now looking for a dive.
Yeah, there's the On the Hunt as POL's going to flash forward. There's the Howling Gale. They take down the turret. Nice use of the Lantern, but Mystic's going to die. Conan as well. It's a double kill already as Aluka, he's teleported in. Very tanky at the moment. Going to save the rest of his members, but that's the whole bottom lane dead. First Blood's gone down, and that's an extra one with it.
And this is really cool. So they're going to go immediately fall back onto the dragon simply because their top laner has now been pulled down with the stand united, so they have complete control of that objective. And you immediately see Godv run to the top side to force that wave in because he has the teleport that if WE tried to fall back onto the mid-tier tower, he'd be able to teleport back into spawn. But they actually don't commit to the dragon. Surprising.
Yeah, don't commit to the dragon here, but Godv able to make sure that Aluka misses out on a fair bit of farm crashing into this turret here that he probably would have been okay with had it sort of not been attended to, as both Acorn and Aluka had paid a visit to that bottom side of the map. Xiaoxi, he's going to get in here, use that W to speed himself up towards that Gromp, and he's going towards that Rune Glaive, as you would expect. Now a couple of assists in his back pocket. We'll see whether he can finish that Rune Glaive when he heads back to base. Mystic and Conan making, you know, trying to find some farm in this lane, but at the moment down by 20 CS. Both giving up a kill here as well, as Imp's now 1-0-1. Sitting on an Avarice Blade as well, so going for a bit of investment banking this time around.
And now you see the shift. So with the tower down, Imp is going to go ahead and move into the mid lane, has both of his flat AD items as well as the Avarice Blade available to him. So not quite the upgraded level 2 boots to help him kind of quickly maneuver, but hold on, Acorn.
Yeah, Acorn might be in trouble. Howling Gale there knocks up too, as Acorn has to use the flash. Death Sentence not going to find him afterwards, and means a summon a spell for 3 people's attention out of WE.
And Acorn's able to be into that bottom side because he doesn't have the teleport, so you still retain your dragon control. Yeah. Because Godv has his teleport, so it's just a very interesting. I mean, if there's something LGD are actually very famous for, it's their wave manipulation and how smart they are about moving around the map. So making the most of their double teleport, so they can still wrestle control over these objectives.
And here as well, you've got Godv doing some counter jungling, so not really worried about Aluka's ability to shove that wave in. Just going to move over, grab as much as he can. 118 CS here at 12 minutes into the game is very, very strong. There's a lot of good farming going on for a lot of these members here as the box goes down. Conan might be in trouble. The Shadow Dash is going to connect. Conan is so dead now as Mystic. He's got some attention. Godv teleported in. He's going to find him on the backside. Moonfall is still available. Slows him down with that one, and it's going to be a cute little Q. Locks down the kill. In the end, Conan actually survives. The Cathian Surprise is eventually going to destroy Mystic. And Godv just teleports in, grabs the kill, goes back.
He's running now towards that top lane to meet up with Aluka, but I still feel like LGD should have really pulled the trigger on this dragon. That's kind of the one question mark that I have, but obviously content to just continue to pick up these kills on this farm.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these teams actually, I mean, as far as the LPL is concerned, normally a region that likes to get very early dragons done, have been leaving it to a little bit later.
They have full control over the bottom side, so it's not as if they're forfeiting their dragon control. So at this point, it's like we pick up the kills, we already know that we have dragon control, and now we're just furthering it because we have more items, but it does delay the fifth dragon win condition until later.
True Shot Barrage not going to find him, but going to do a bit of a job clearing out this lane. Rune Glaive completed by GA, but takes...
hits them every time like that. Anytime you step next to the tower, Imp will throw the boomerang and he will connect with you.
Yeah. Well, Mystic doesn't have the Sheen just yet. Needs that portion to complete his Trinity Force. 1280 gold until that item is done. Big power spike still to be awaited by this Cogmore. Imp hasn't been back to base for quite some time, and he's farming so well. Actually eclipses Godby now, as he did teleport down, wasted a little bit of time, and he's now getting sort of pressured away from this creep wave on the bottom side of the map as Mystic very far forward. And you can see another double tap of that boomerang. Imp tanked a tower shot and still won the trade.
And this is what we see Imp all the time with this Sivir, and why it's different from others is that he just really abuses the W reset and the Sivir passive of stepping forward and making sure that he finds those cute little trades with you even underneath your tower.
Yeah. Making things work. National's Tooth completed by Godby. Have been seeing this a little bit more from Diana players throughout the LPL. Not going for the burst Diana, going for a little bit more of that, as that barrel's just going to time itself out. Imp not going to get the extra mana.
He wanted it. I feel like there's a competition between Imp and Deft right now. It's like, hey, you want to bet that I can get 100 CS over my enemy opponent?
Well, he's only at 30 at the moment. Mystic's able to keep up. Not doing too bad. You can see Aluka there quietly accruing himself about a 20 CS advantage. But Xiaoxi and Godby going to try and take down this.
Ooh, teleport.
Oh, yeah, Xiaoxi actually forced to use the smite there as well. Luca's going to find his way in. Does have the unstoppable onslaught potentially, but he's just going to explode and wander to the mid lane.
And again, LGD not pulling the trigger on this dragon. They've had full control of it for the last 5 minutes, but for whatever reason, just content to prioritize farming the lanes and grabbing experience versus pushing forward that objective win.
Trish Barrage one more time, going to clear out this mid wave. Xie just going to make sure that Imp doesn't get any free time on this turret because it's getting very, very low. And it looks like LGD just decided, okay, I guess we'll do the dragon.
It's really curious to me. You know, Mystic doesn't have Trinity Force, so even if it did turn out to be a true 5v5, especially because Aluka, you know, burning the teleport now back into the top lane, neither top laner, excuse me, Acorn and Stand United, I mean, they had full itemization advantage, they had the teleport advantage, they had the kill advantage for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, so things were definitely in advantage for LGD. Because actually Xiao's going to be able to smite away that blue buff on the other side of the map. So, of course, Xiaoxi did grab theirs away from them. So, just going to be a bit of a swap here as far as those blue buffs are concerned. But Xie probably wanting it a little bit more than his jungler does. And God'd be pretty upset that he didn't manage to get a blue. Yep, going to grab himself some mana. And it's actually the Mercury's Treads picked up by Godby here. So, respecting the CC.
See what other itemization he picks up down the line to maybe compensate for that lack of penetration from the Sork shoes to the Mercury shoes. Typically, excuse me, Mercury Treads. Typically what people will do is they'll use the Abyssal in tandem with the Mercury Treads because the aura penetration will compensate for the fact that you don't have the
Sorcerer shoes.
And then likewise work really well in conjunction that they're both building MR. Just make you a little bit tankier, but we'll see.
Well, of course, Diana loves to build that item as well. You right up in the face of your opponent, so you can always make use of that passive magic penetration. Acorn is going to wander around the minions, trying to burn them with his Balmy Cinder. And yeah, Shen versus Simon, everybody. Not a whole lot happening. POL not going to take too much. True Shot Barrage is going to do a bit of work, but nothing to write home about. And Xiaoxi with his Runeglaive and his Sightstone, just looking for some people.
Godby being very patient, was looking for some assassination by hiding in Fog of War, but decides just to shove that one into the tower. And LGD, they normally play the map, but I feel like it's kind of something they really haven't been doing. Some, you know, decent rotations, but not near to the speed that we're used to seeing from them. Curious if it maybe has to do with the fact that Xiaoxi's on the roster versus TBQ.
I also I like what LGD are doing, just with the fact that they do have this 1-3-1 they're able to utilize very, very effectively.
The double teleport, yeah.
Yeah. So utilizing that one quite nicely, able to get this mid lane outer turret as well. So 4,000 gold is the casual lead for this side, and no towers have been able to be grabbed by WE, because LGD have just always had a man in a lane.
Doing a great job making sure that the mid laner and the AD carry are never splitting any of their farm. They have got strong deficits between, discrepancies between either of their opponents, although it's a bit smaller between Xie and Godby.
Yeah, Xie doing a decent job trying to get himself some farm. He's been largely up against Imp and POL though, and getting that wave shoved repeatedly into him. Xiaoxi's going to get spotted here as he speeds himself up, heading towards the top side of the map. Luca might need to be careful, but looks like the red buff steal is now in action
This is
LGD.
pretty classic LGD, though. When they want to fight you, they just walk into your jungle and they just choke every single buff away from you.
Yeah, well, Spirit actually answering. He's headed over towards that red buff. You can see Imps grabbed it.
That's
The
why
rest of
PYL's
LGD
running.
moving over. Yeah, Godby's here as well, looking to try and stop Spirit from taking this one away. There's the Q land. Moon falls down
PYL.
as well. Oh, the Monsoon gets him back over the wall. Howling Gale doesn't find him, but Spirit has to be very careful. Explosive cast there, but Xiaoxi, he's eventually going to be able to lock down that kill. Cute little flash from PYL to get himself to safety. Was trapped in that pit just a little bit, but that's the kill into Spirit.
And that's the LGD that we expect to see. So making proactive plays through macro movements on the map, denying objectives, and then making the most, knowing that Spirit would try to trade red for red. PYL with the cute little maneuver to come through the pit, knowing that Gragas would try to belly bop through and pushes him right back over with Monsoon. Hey, buddy, where you going?
Yep. No. Back you go. Back you go.
So there we go. This is the LG that I expected, and then they quickly rotate Imp up into the top side, grab another freestanding objective.
Yeah, and as soon as World Elite are sort of in any way in the backcourt able to utilize that by grabbing themselves that turret as well. They even denied the red buff here on the top side of the map, so Spirit's going to have to clear that one out for himself, and that buff is going to take a little bit longer to come back up.
And right now, I mean, WE just trying to hang on and buy time for Xie to ramp up on not only the Ezreal, but also Mystic's Kog'Maw. Has the Trinity Force complete, Dragon will be spawning in 1 minute 30 seconds, and with the Runeglaive completed as well as the blue buff picked up alongside the needlessly large, WE are in a bit of a position to look for a team fight. Yeah,
they could potentially find something here. Of course, Kog'Maw, a fantastic Trinity Force user, so using all of those stats, almost the best out of a lot of these AD carries. Of course, Corki, another one of those champions, but maybe just Kog'Maw in general, just uses the AP very well, uses his W plus the Sheen proc so amazingly well.
The nice thing about Kog'Maw is that he's a hyper-scaling late game carry, and no one can deny that. But he also does get a sizable power spike into that mid lane, or into that mid game, because he is a Trinity user, and especially in tandem with a lot of these control mages, which also hyperscale into late game. You think Azir, you think Victor, things like that. The Runeglaive Ezreal kind of sort of will peak at mid game and then kind of really carry over into late game just because he's a very powerful champion right now.
Yeah.
But just makes Kog'Maw kind of interesting about his scaling and, you know, when teams can use him, which is why I was kind of curious that we haven't really seen a lot of Kog'Maw, that it's taken this long that Mystic, you know, would pull him back out. I actually think Mystic and Def, the two Koreans, are the only LPL players to really bring Kog'Maw back, but I feel like he fits this meta perfectly. He's got great siege. He peaks at mid-game as well as will scale into late game, especially in conjunction with Janna.
Yeah.
So,
well, of course, Crystal did play a lot of the Kog'Maw as well, but hasn't
very
been
early,
playing on the lineup here for Snake. So Aluka has been discovered by Godby, who's trying to get some work done here. Stands United on top of him. Aluka taking a long time to die. Luna Rush is there. Akon flashes over the wall, does manage to lock down that kill, and GA's going to die. Luna Rush finishes that kill off for Godby. 2-0 and 2 for this Diana. And LGD, they might just go into the Baron.
And so much global presence with the double teleport as well as the Stand United, and you are correct, they...
He's just going to wait for the cooldown, then go in.
Thought he missed out round 2.
Yep, nailed it. Well, LGD are going to be able to take this one down. You can see
Spirit's
WE
alive.
are hanging around.
I believe Spirit.
He can possibly... Oh, the Monsoon again! And that is going to be the smite that locks down that Baron. That denial, double denial of Spirit to get over walls with that body slam from PYL.
PYL has Spirit's number, but here we go.
Yeah, Death Sentence onto Imp here as Spirit's going to get the body slam blocked out of the way here. Imp's going to go down. Conan locks down the kill. Mystic able to get a lot of damage down the side. Nice true shot barrage from the base from GA. They only lose Imp, but are they going to lose the turret as well? Mystic's got a fair bit of damage, and Xiaoxi actually looking to get through here. Is the Shadow Dash going to come down as Godby? He's running pretty fast into this fight. Aluka being a huge front line. Now GA, he's in here. WE, they can't get the turret just yet.
They really need Imp, so just trying to buy time. Stalling out this tower. We'll see if Mystic has enough to shred through this.
And Powered Recall is going to get LGD back to base here as Godby. He's going to find GA. Look at the damage from this Diana. As he might be able to get back in. That's a decent Shadow Dash there from Akon as well. Just trying to buy time for the team. Wants to still make his way back in. Godby doesn't have the reset on the ultimate though, and that's just going to be Akon going down.
Yeah, some miscommunication there between Godby and Acorn. I actually feel like Godby could have perhaps committed on that. Obviously, would have been very risky, and they would have sacrificed, you know, multiple Barons. So maybe the risk versus reward not quite there for Godby. So.
But they protected their
turret.
Yeah. Acorn is going to have to stand united when he does come out of the Death Chamber as well. And LGD going to secure the second Dragon for themselves. 7,000 gold the lead here for this side. Godby throwing out a Crescent Slash there.
And if you've ever heard me cast an LGD game, you know what I'm about to talk about. It's LGD side wave control. So one of the things that makes LGD really unique as a team is anytime they approach a team fight and objective, and they do this all the time with their double teleport, just kind of semi-global ultimates, is they prep their side waves.
Oh my goodness.
Just that he always does this. He steps forward with the W. It's so fun to watch. LGD, they are very, very punishing and really hard to, even when you're ahead, to choke them out simply because their waves will always be pushed against you. They do a great job with their flanking wards. Anytime they approach a fight, you have to think about it this way. So if you approach a dragon, and say it's a 50-50, everything's completely even. If your waves are pushed forward, you go into that 50-50, you lose the fight, you don't lose anything else. You just lost the fight, you lost the dragon. If your waves are not prepped and you go into a 50-50 dragon, you lose that, you lose a tower, possibly more.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just that idea, and they're one of the teams that do it the best simply because they have Godby and they have Acorn. Flame's also very good at it.
Yeah, it does seem like Flame and Acorn very interchangeable here for the LGD lineup, but LGD are able to get at least 2 inner turrets here. Oh, assuming that LGD are going to be able to lock this one down in the top side of the map, and they do with a cheeky little auto attack there from Imp. Spirit, not a whole lot he can do about it, but look, this inhibitor turret getting taken down very, very low. Godby's going to commit to it, able to lock it down. Look at the passive doing so much work. Aluka trying to hold on to Godby, stop him from doing anything. There's the ultimate as well. He is going to have to use the Zhonya's, does do it, but when he comes out, I think he's going to be dead.
That said, they will trade the second tier mid tower, as well as the inhibitor in the top side, although not actually able to get it in time, so great response from WE. That said, still hemorrhaging.
Yeah, of course, they did lose that turret there on the bottom side of the map, so LGD did get what they wanted to done on that side. It is going to be another needlessly large rod built up by Godby, though, not going for any sort of Abyssal Scepter, anything like that just yet. Decided he wants the Stasis, which was useful. Did buy an extra time here for LGD to get some more work done on that mid inner turret. LGD are going to lose their outer there just because Godby was dead. But him going to stop anything else from coming through. And you think that LGD probably now going to try and re-prep those side lanes as they're pushing back in favor of WE.
Yep, you do have big, sizable...
Oh, On the Hunt's actually been popped here. Imp looking to try and take down GA. I don't know whether he's going to be able to kill an Ezreal, though.
That was a little bit overzealous.
Imp overzealous? Really?
Never.
Well, Fisher Brush going to do some work.
He popped his spell shield as he came around the corner because he expected Xie to throw it initially as soon as he was kind of safe and prepped the wave, and he didn't throw it, and then just a second later, boop. That was cute.
Able to get a little bit of damage. Of course, the Vampiric Scepter going to help him, and he's already back to full health now as well. He's headed back to base, grabbed himself a Last Whisper, Alacrity enchantment on those boots as well, so with that Fleet of Foot passive, as well as the fact that he has the Alacrity enchantment on his Berserker's Greaves, he's going to be moving pretty quickly around these team fights. And that's without even talking about the fact that Fair wins there, as well as the On the Hunt.
And again, Imp making sure that he reset that wave before he went back and got his boot enchantments. And meanwhile, in the top lane, Acorn, what's he doing? He's pushing waves.
He is. Able to get that one. Moving towards WE's base. Kept that whole wave there as well, so we'll see what he's going to be able to do. Luca, a little bit undecided about where he wants to go, actually hanging around his base. We'll see whether he wants to use the Unstoppable Onslaught and sort of in order to start a fight. Of course, Stand United and Teleport available, and Spirit, he was looking for that Body Slam in. Not going to get there. Imp going to use the Spell Shield, but Conan wasn't going to connect that Death Sentence anyway.
Returning to the 1-3-1, it's very important that Sivir be used in this composition. So you have to think about it this. So if Godby and the ping did go down onto this inhibitor, if they decide that that's going to be their primary objective as opposed to sieging the mid-tier tower, then it's important that Sivir is with the 3, because anytime WEC where Acorn and Godby are, they should make the call to pull the trigger and to try to engage on the 3. Sivir uses her ultimate defensively and just runs away.
Well, LGD, they are going to use the ultimate here. Xiaoxi right in amongst it. There's the Monsoon from PYL just getting Conan completely into no man's land. Explosive cast down. Godby's going to die. Xiaoxi still trying to get the work done, but you can see Jie from the outside. They've got them corralled. Nice devastating smash there from Aluka as he's trying to get this one working out, but Aluka is going to die. Shadow Dash a little bit late there as Imp able to get a nice crit on top of Mystic. Imp actually flashing over the wall. Xie is going to die to that one. No more funny business. Akon tanking up everything. Spirit's going to die. Mystic not long for this world as well unless he gets the heck out, which he's going to do. And LGD, you have to think, probably going to grab themselves a couple of inhibitors off this.
At least 2 right there, so I was just about to explain, you know, how this setup, the 1-3-1 with the Sever really works and all the bases that it covers. But if you just kind of watch everything burn, since LGD are so good at applying map pressure at pretty much every single angle all at once, WE just kind of caught with their pants down, completely out of position, and LGD go ahead and pull the trigger, diving the tower. Fantastic flash Monsoon from PYL to split them up and to push several members back into his waiting team.
You can see Imp actually decided to go for that Negatron cloak, so might be going towards that Guardian Angel. Does have the makings of a Blade of the Ruined King there with the Bilgewater Cutlass. See what they're going to be able to make from here. Akon hanging around in the mid lane, wants to get that one moving forward. You can see pings on the side waves. WE allowing theirs to push out. There's the Dragon. Number 3 going to be going down here for LGD in response to WE's 0. Well, Baron is available as well, so WE will see whether they make a play onto that one. Godby towards the top side.
Acorn using his teleport advantage. Well, I guess it's not an advantage, but using his TP, pushing out the bottom side because Aluka does have his TP. So Aluka will have to recall sooner or later here and go down to meet him. There he goes.
He is going to respond to the split push of Shen. Not exactly a dangerous one because it doesn't do a lot of damage to the turrets, but he's going to be able to move these waves forward. And I guess, you know, doesn't need to worry about turret damage. He can kill an inhibitor. That one doesn't fight back.
How to win through creep control.
Well, On the Hunt's going to be popped one more time. Mystic has to be very careful. Get some ooze out there, but Lunar Rush was too much. There's this Shadow Dash of the Luca. He gets the double knock-up onto Xiaoxi and Imp. They do use the Locket of the Iron Solari, but Conan's going to die. Akon trying to get forward, but doesn't find the taunt onto Aluka. And Jie trying to kite back, but LGD, they found their way into the base. Devastating smash onto Akon, but he just takes no damage. LGD too strong at the moment. Monsoon going to keep them all healthy. And LGD, they're going to push forward and try and end this game.
Just not enough respect over the reach that Sivir can give an engage tool. That's twice now. WE caught out of position and just not expecting the speed of which On the Hunt can run them down.
LGD as well have a 14,000 gold lead at the moment, so looking very, very strong towards the end of this game. 2 inhibitors down on the side of WE, 3 dragons to 0. Massive turret disparity as 8 turrets are being taken by LGD to the 1 of WE. That outer in the mid lane that was actually quite difficult for them to take as well. LGD actually peeling off the Baron. As WE have respawned, they're coming around. Yeah,
they don't have Godby, so they're just waiting for him. Don't want to give up a steal here.
Oh, Spirits actually come through here. Oh my goodness, Imp's damage is ridiculous. Godby with the moonfall onto Aluka. They're focusing him out. Uses the ultimate for some nice knock-up damage as the True Shot Barrage comes through. Imp just tanks it up there. Akon right in from the side. Spirit going to get taken very, very low. There's the Lunar Rush to finish off that kill. LGD actually very low here, but the 2 members of WE are down. And GA and Mystic with no frontline apart from Aluka with about 600 health. They do have to back away. LGD just winning fight after fight.
I find it a little bit curious to kind of recap of how we got to this point, because it seems like LGD just kind of suddenly exploded with their massive gold lead over WE. WE only picking up 4 kills. Their early game was still relatively slow and not quite as I don't even know what the word I want to use, objective-oriented. You think about how late it took them to take the initial dragon. It's only once PYL has gotten involved with LGD that they've been grouped up as 5 that things have really started to explode as far as their macro movements. So LG, historically as a team, because again, you think back to their former jungler TBQ, are very good at hiding their jungler. At kind of, waiting at the lane phase, having a slow start to a game, and then suddenly, again, as soon as their shot caller, their captain PYL gets involved with them, everything starts going right. It's much easier to direct them and kind of control the team. And I still feel like this is a problem with Xiaoxi, or at least what this game has shown us. This doesn't look like a different team between Xiaoxi and TBQ.
No, not as much. You are right. Godby and Akon going to take some damage from that True Shot Barrage. Not going to stop them taking this Baron down. Xiaoxi wasn't even there. They just knew that no member of World League could get anywhere near that Baron. And now with 2 inhibitors down, Baron buff circling the members of LGD. Mystic also discovering Xiaoxi here. You can see so many wards so far up for LGD. And LGD now looking to try and close this game out.
Have Baron, have the gold lead, have a massive imp.
Yeah, does Imp seem to eke more damage out of Sivir than any other player? Sivir just seems to do more.
It's a really close race between him and Death.
Yeah, very true. Well, Descent's not going to find the mark on the hunt. Has been popped, though. There's the Taunt Flash, and Mystic is going to get caught up and destroyed there by Xiaoxi. Aluka trying to be the tank for his team, but Conan's going to get exploded. Aluka still on the walk back as Spirit and GA, not anything that they can do. The auto attacks from Imp here as the decent explosive cast makes sure that Imp can lock down the kill onto Xie. Probably not exactly the move that they wanted. Boomerang almost going to kill Spirit, but he's not going to die. The rest of the base of World Elite is, though, an LGD. They just put on a clinic and take down the last place team here in the LPL, but they do so in pretty emphatic fashion.
And this is very indicative of LGD. It's all about the side wave, minion control management. They ran a double teleport composition with the Sivir.
Yep.
And this is how you win through creep waves.
Yeah, and just Imp not scared to blow that ultimate as well, making sure that it was on cooldown for as much of the game as possible, even if they were just running after an Ezreal as he was trying to take down a blue buff. And look, his Sivir just does so much damage for Osprey, it's just silly.
Xie on your screen right there, just kind of wondering what went wrong.
Yeah, what can we do? You can see Wayless or Godby just saying it's another day in the office, guys. Pretty good at Diana. And his Diana play every single time he's picked it up over the last couple of weeks has been very, very strong.
I'm telling you, legacy Diana player back when his name was Wayless. When he was a rookie player for LGD. Obviously, this is his second competitive year. Changed his name to Godby this last split. Still continuing to thrive.
Yeah, definitely thriving. We'll see what he does in the next game. We are going to move into a short break later.